Before I begin this video, I'll just start off by saying that this will probably be my last video for quite some time since I am starting school. Um, I will occasionally make videos as best I can, but since I'm gonna be focusing my time on school, I just won't make a whole lot of videos. But I figured I'd let everyone know that this will be my last video for quite some time. I'm gonna, you know, do my best to try and make some videos, but whenever I can, is basically when I will. Alright, let's get to the video. Oh, God.
So, yeah, this movie is, if you could tell from my reaction, it's not a very good movie. It's quite honestly the biggest missed opportunity from a film I've ever seen. Say what I will about, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. You sit down? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. Sit down. There you go. So obviously compare that to Rise of Skywalker, I would say that this is easily the most disappointed I've ever been from this movie. I mean, I I'm like even furious just talking about this movie because I know how many missed opportunities and just everything. I mean, from the title alone, when you think Jurassic World Dominion, you think, dinosaurs roaming the earth, the jackpot idea, the one thing that's gonna bring, people into theaters. And it did make quite a bit of money, but yeah, no, I mean, this is far from a movie that, promised something and we got something like completely different. I mean, from the opening like few minutes. I mean, if you watch this in theaters like I did, um, I'll get into the extended cut later. Um, I got plenty of words on that. But if you watched it in theaters, the theatrical cut, I mean, from the very few opening minutes, you get just a couple of scenes of dinosaurs in the real world. If you watch the previous Jurassic World movie, you know that, the dinosaurs, spoiler alert for the, second Jurassic World. I know I'm jumping right in without even getting into the franchise. This is technically my first video on the franchise, so I get it. I truly do. But in the last Jurassic World, the dinosaurs escape the facility and, are running amok in the real world. And that idea has been toyed around. I know, like, during production it's been toyed around with, but they fully delivered on it. They briefly hinted at it with the second Jurassic Park movie from the 90s, and that was a cool scene. And there was only, I mean, in the theatrical cut, there is probably like maybe a small smidge, maybe a pinch of those good ideas of dinosaurs roaming the earth and terrorizing civilians, but otherwise, most of the movie is just, oh man, it is just beyond baffling that originally, like, if you were on my channel long enough, I actually posted a video reviewing the film, and this was way back in June last year, and my review, I gave it a decent review, but I'm gonna be honest, I was in denial. This, I mean, next to The Rise of Skywalker and, a lot of other movies I've seen, this is another one of those movies where I was just, after leaving the theater, I was in denial. I I could not think, like, no words came to my like disappointment. Like, I didn't know what to say at the end when I walked out of that theater. I didn't want to hate it, but in reality, in my head, I viscerally hated it. I loathed the film. I really did not like it. But I will say this. It is entertainingly bad. it is at least bad on some level where I can at least watch it and be entertained. So I will say that. At least it's not, it's occasionally boring bad, you get, a couple of like moments with the classic crew. If you've seen the trailer, you get a couple of moments from the classic crew, and they're in, I want to say InGen, but it's not InGen. I think it's called Biosyn. I just remembered. Oh my god, I completely forgot for like 2 seconds. But Biosyn instead of InGen completely disappeared off the face of the earth from in this universe, even though it was like the big corporation. And now you got Biosyn run by Dotson. And just like Dennis Nedry said from the first movie, no one cares. I could not care less. In fact, I was baffled that they brought him back. Just a small character that had no. I mean, he was a villain in the book. I did read the book. He was a villain that did return occasionally in the book. But, yeah, there was no reason to bring him back. I mean, they must have watched Rise of Skywalker and went like, huh, they brought Palpatine back. Let's bring back Dotson and pretend like he's the big bad in all this. You know who the big bad is in Jurassic Park, or at least in the Jurassic Park franchise? Literally the T-Rex. There's no human bad guy. Yes, there are human villains, but they get eaten in the end, and, they're not trying to destroy the world. It's ultimately just based on their greed and their, bizarre ideas, which ultimately gets them killed. They don't wish harm on the earth. But, yeah, oh my god. Yeah, this film's not very good. It's not. I mean, I ranted about it just for 5 minutes, and I haven't even gotten into, like, the nitty-grittiness of everything. So,
And like I said, the first video, well, not first video, the one video, if you stuck with my channel long enough, one of my videos was me actually praising this movie at first, so, yeah, oh man. And to that I say, God bless my sweet summer child naive heart. Oh my god. Now really there isn't much to say about the theatrical cut because, again, I mean, there's just nothing to the movie. I mean, the whole plot is essentially locusts. I mean, locusts. And that's pretty much the big bad. I mean, the dinosaurs are literally secondary characters. The locusts are the big problem. I don't know whose idea that was, but fire that man at Universal Studios, whoever thought that was a good idea. That's like having, basically any famous, like, think of any superhero movie. Like, that's like having a Iron Man movie and then having, Pepper Potts be the main character. I mean, it just doesn't fit the narrative. I mean, oh man. And it's, which I was initially fine with it, because I thought, okay, it's science fiction-y, at least it's something like Jurassic, I don't know. It has something to do with science fiction, and that's where I kind of gave it a pass at first, but no, not anymore. It still pisses me off. Like I said, in the extended cut, and you do get scenes like this, for instance. You get a whole 10-minute sequence, and let's just say that the 10-minute sequence is pretty cool. In fact, it's the only saving grace of this film. I mean, the first 10 minutes of this movie, essentially, is just, it's like a nature documentary of dinosaurs roaming the earth. And near the end, from the previous photo I showed you, because I'm not using any footage because Universal will come at me for every type of lawsuit they can think of, but, it cuts from 65 million years ago to modern day, where dinosaurs are now ruling the earth in our real world.
What the hell?
Not only did you cut one of the coolest scenes we could have watched in the cinema, but you decided to focus it all on locusts? Not only that, we also got the origin story on the mosquito from the first movie. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's really something, ain't it? Really something. Now, I can go on and on about the dislikes and what I like about the film, but I think I've said enough at least, because otherwise this video will be, I hate to say it, close to an hour, because there is a lot that I truly dislike about it. I mean, but I think the biggest reason is that it's just a massive opportunity. But the other big reason is why I hate it, especially now, is this movie is a little bit personal to me. And no, it's not because one of my biggest childhood dreams was ripped apart and, basically bashed for not seeing humans getting brutally eaten in our real world. Although, let's be fair, that still would have been pretty cool. No, this was because this was technically the last date that me and my girlfriend at the time went to. This movie will forever be engraved in my brain for being the last movie I took my girlfriend at the time to go see. And I fell asleep less than halfway through it.